Hey YouTube, back to our normal video, the sort of video that this channel was basically based on. Guitars that nobody really knows about that are awesome. So this is an Aria Pro II VIPER series, made in Korea, I'm assuming. Oh no, it's a VP-40B. I thought sometimes the wee gold stickers you sometimes see, they're always faded because your hand rubs off the writing, but this one actually says VP, so it's a VP-40B. It actually says VP-40 there, and I'm going to take a random guess that B stands for black, because it's black. Yeah, so the serial number on this starts 90, which might make it 1990. I don't know. I don't think so. I couldn't find all the Aria Pro catalogues. There seems to be quite a big VIPER series. There was a few different ones. This is the one that doesn't have a scratch plate, but there's one with a scratch plate, and there's ones with, you know, different pickup layouts. There's like an HH and a 3 single coil and stuff like that. So this is slap bang as much of a super strat, which I was never a fan of, because when I started playing the guitar, I was into, you know, Sabbath and the Stones and the Beatles and all that, and all the guitars I saw, we're talking mid to late 90s, sort of I don't know, when did I start playing? 97, 98, something like that. All the guitars you saw second hand were all super strats, not necessarily this one, but ones of this type, various qualities all over the place. The whole idea about having the ultimate guitar that did everything in one thing was a big thing then, but it just, you know, I'm not playing this, play the Stones on this, it doesn't seem right. Now I've calmed down and I'm not so bothered with it, and actually there's quite a few super strats. Actually I bought 2 this year, you know, the quintessential super strats, your Ibanez RGs. No, but you know, you can see what they were going for. The Gem guitar was a big world changer for the world, with the Steve Vai guitar. So it come in with, this doesn't actually have, so this is a 22 fret, so still slightly stratty, didn't have the 24. HSS, got a push-pull coil split, all very super stratty things. A Floyd Rose, and fancy inlay markers. These markers are cool though. I've not really seen them, but I don't know what you would call them. They're not, obviously not shark fins, sort of sails, something like that. Don't know. So we've got a maple neck with a scarf join on it. Okay, I've just realised that I have not put the screws back in the tuners, so I will need to do that. They are there. There's a wee box with the screws, and I remember going, what are those wee 6 black screws for? That's a strange one. So the tuners work when you don't put the screws in the back to hold them up. That will be sorted. Yeah, so this is an interesting bridge as well. It's a single locking Floyd Rose, so it doesn't actually lock here. You basically just stick the ball end, you just stick the string in there, like the way you would do a top string in bridge, which technically the string can stretch when it gets to the ball end. That's why you get, you know, the one with the stupid wee block that always falls out and all that. These are much easier to use, but it's a more robust bridge than a strat type bridge, and it's a 2-point. So I'm thinking this guitar is actually not entirely dissimilar to my favourite guitar, the wee Roadster, which has got, it doesn't have a locking bridge, but it's got an improved strat tremolo, HSS again, the push-pull pot, and similar sort of thing. This would be more, this would be between this and a strat, whereas the RG would be between, this and an RG. I think, you know, it's not quite as RG-ish, but so you still get remnants of it still being a strat. So it can do anything, and having a humbucker in the neck's a great thing. So my problem with these things is that you've really got to do the research into them, because I mean this was the fashionable guitar around about 1990, something like that, because the 80s didn't end until 1992. But this so you can get, there's a lot of Aria Pros, Vantage, Ibanez, maybe not so much Ibanez, because I kind of know them now, but Arias, Washburns, any makes lots of guitars, this similar sort of thing. The only thing I've really got against it, it looks a little bit like the Yamaha ERG. which is, you know, the cheap Yamaha, just because it's black and it's HSS. It's not quite the same shape. But yeah, and also it doesn't have a... This has thrown me a little bit. I was under the impression that the Floyd Rose manufacturing thing, all the patents were held for the clamp at the top, you know, like a Floyd Rose clamp. So the Floyd Rose patent was actually for that bit. This. So see, you've got like the nut with the 3 clamp screws on it, so you basically tune it up and then tighten it up there, then you've got fine adjustment screws. Apparently Floyd Rose couldn't, they didn't patent this bit, because the fine adjustment screws, I think violins have them, and have had for hundreds of years, so you can't patent something like that. But the actual clamp up at the top, he did patent. So that was why, if you look at older guitars with callers on them, for example, or anything by Ibanez or anything like that that's pre about 1986, 1987, it's always got a clamp behind the nut rather than a clamp that's actually part of the nut. And then 1986, I think they started issuing licenses for the Floyd Rose, so people could do it. This one, though, actually, it says licensed by Floyd Rose on the actual bridge, but it doesn't. It's just got a normal nut with a clamp thing behind it. But it's still, you know, normally they're both in the same thing. Obviously, it's pretty easy just to file that down and put a clamp in. I'd be tempted to run this guitar, because of what it is, rather than being the extreme bendy super machine where you're just like, whoa, you know, all that stuff. If you use it like a Strat trem, it will hold tune better than a Strat one does. But quality levels seem quite high. It's also got this scoop thing on the back, so you can get slightly higher. It just makes it a little bit interesting. I think it's a wee bit of an angle as well, for, see, it's not square, it kind of cuts in there a bit, for better high fret access, which is fine. You can get to the last fret, no problem. Yeah, so running through the orange TH30 there, the reverb's on but nothing else. That's neck pickup, position 4. Middle position. Position 2 with the thing popped up, so it's like this is a single coil. I might turn a wee bit of volume up actually. I think I've bashed it. And then bridge pickup and single coil. And then humbucker. But as obviously, I like using the humbucker for when it's distorted and the single coil for when it's... That was a neck pickup, I suppose I'll run through them. Position 4. Rat pedal! humbucker. Basically, I wanted to do this. I got this in a trade a couple of weeks ago. A few folk had tagged me in it, and I just didn't have enough money to buy it, so I ended up getting it in a trade. Yeah, fantastic guitar. The quality levels are right up there. It's just that whole thing about me not being a fan of super strats, even though I've kind of now changed my mind a bit. Maybe I've grown up a little bit. I'm no longer against the super strat. It's a little bit one of those ones which I do sort of get the whole, oh, this is an understated, wouldn't be surprised when I play something amazing on such an uninteresting looking guitar. When I say uninteresting, just because it's all black. You take, well, that one there, Ibanez RG was all black when I got it. It's like, I just like something a bit more exciting. Looks wise, but performance wise, it's great. It's a smashing guitar. So yes, these will be on my list for pretty decent guitars. Again, one of the issues with these, this sort of thing is things like with a Floyd Rose, you have to be able to set it up. But when I got this one, it was sitting like, it's way up here like this, it'd been fidgeted with. As long as you know how to set it up and all the bits are there, which they are, it should be fine. It doesn't look like although it's quite a fancy, quite a rounded and expensive looking actual unit. Where the posts are and stuff like that looks like, I reckon you could just pop any Floyd Rose on top of that and it would be fine. But just make sure it's there. It's one of those things, if you're talking about a beginner's guitar, probably having a tremolo is not the best move. I mean, this tremolo, I don't know, it's still holding tune just now. Yeah, so you can get this at trills. Actually, in some ways, I prefer this Floyd to the one that's on the RGs, because they have a tendency, because they're so light to operate, to be a bit, when you batter a chord, you can kind of hear it going brrr a little bit, just when you're not. It doesn't seem to work with this one. Again, I need to learn how to use a tremolo properly. My problem is, see if I had one guitar that had a trem on it, my guitar, that'd be fine. I would have learned how to use it, but because I've got so many, they're all slightly different, so just, try to bend one note. It's the same as string bending. If you bend it to the right note, it sounds amazing. If you bend it to the wrong note, it just sounds out of tune. So it's just a case of learning how far to push the bar to get half up to get one note. So they're there. I can actually hear it doing it a little bit. Well, I was saying there about that slight brrr thing that happens when you play it. No, I'm not talking about when you're actually using the whammy, but when you're just playing exceptionally hard, which is maybe something I just do in the RGs. But that's not this guitar. In fact, this is better at it than the RGs are now. It's just one of those things that with a Floyd Rose, there is a slight wobbliness to it. I don't mean what, just a slight flutter, just a wee variance when you batter the strings. Obviously, the bridge kind of goes. Whoa. There's a little bit, just, but once you notice it's there, it's there. So it's just doing it a little bit, not very much so. That's just one of the things about Floyd Roses. Floyd Roses just do that. If you don't want it to do that, get hardtail. Yeah, so this is I think Jennifer wanted this. Is I'll JPax that. I think someone might actually want to buy it as well. But I was like, I want to get a video for it first, because I think this is an interesting guitar, and it's a high quality guitar. I mean, there's so many of the Washburn and Aria. What was it? I just saw Aria, was it Integra and another Vanguard. And there's a lot of Arias I've never even seen before. I don't even know if they all made it to every country. But I mean, it's called a VIPER as well. One of the things I didn't want at JPax, it says VIPER on it. Aria were good at their names. They've got the VIPER, and there's like the Night Warrior and the Blade Runner, and there's a few names that Aria were good at giving them names. You know, it's like, oh, it's an RG470. Okay, it's a VIPER. Whoa. But I'm easily pleased with these things. That's why I like the Wing series. It's a Raven, so you get the Raven and the Hawk and the Eagle, and it's not a RG470 and an RG550 and an RG600, and you're just like, it's just kind of like numbers in it. I like a name, although it is technically a VP-40, but it's VIPER. Yeah, I also had an interesting email this morning to my guitars page. Some company called Licato, something like that. They make music products and sends it up here. If there's any of these you're interested in, we'd love to send you one free, and you can do a review of it. So, awesome. So I might be getting some paid promotion things. What was it? They sent me, it was like a loop, like a wee, one of the wee mini loop pedals, and it's like, I like them. I know how to use them. I could probably demo that quite nicely. So it'd be interesting to see if they actually send me anything. It wasn't a company I ever heard of, but I looked up their stuff, and they've got quite a few things that are interesting. They did send me half a dozen Amazon links to say if any of these things would interest you, and it's like, as I said, there was a couple of loop pedals. Yeah, I don't mind demoing them, just out of nosiness partly as well, obviously honest reviews. But I've used the more basic loop pedals, the one you get for 30 quid, and totally I can use that. This one just looks like a more advanced version of that, so I'm pretty sure I'll be able to give it a good review, because I think it'll probably be good. What else did they have? They had an audio interface, and it was like, I could do with an audio interface, get me off this, and microphones as well. Like, some of that I could actually just use that stuff. And not just the other stuff, like a metronome, which I can demo it, but I mean, I don't really need a metronome and a tuner. And it's like, yeah, well, I kind of need a tuner. So there's quite a lot of this stuff you've got. I could use that stuff. You know, I'm not advertising stuff that I don't like. If I don't like it, I'll do a video saying I don't like it, and then I'll just say, look, I'm sorry, I don't want to review this. It's shit. But I wanted that to happen with the Joyo Bandtamp. Joyo, send me a Bandtamp, because I've already done a review of one, the blue one, which is Jen's, which we got in America, and I thought it was flipping great, playing through it every week. But I wouldn't mind having one myself, actually. So send me one, Joyo, whatever one you think. I think the blue one was the basic one, but I mean there was more, the Blue J it's called. But give me the Marshall one, maybe something like that. And I'll do an honest review on it. And you look at it, look at these things. I mean, I'm looking at this company going, how much would it cost to actually get an advert or a video made? It's obviously going to cost a fair bit to get somebody to do that. Whereas if you just give, I think it was about 60 quid or something, the pedal to me, then they obviously 60 quid's the retail price. So if they send it direct, it's probably only costing them 20 or 30 quid and they get a video for that. So it seems to be a win-win situation. I also had a wee look, some of the links they didn't send me, I looked up the make, and they had an interesting looking rechargeable floor unit. Multi-effects was the word I was looking for. But kind of like, not so much like a menus driven multi-effects, more of like 3 or 4 pedals in the one unit with a rechargeable battery. Like I think it was a chorus, a delay and an amp simulator sort of thing, just in one wee unit. Quite interesting. And they also had a wireless system, but more not just any. Like when you plug it to go from the guitar to the amp, not just any one. This one was fake wood, and I thought, a fake wood wireless system. I mean, I've looked at the wireless systems before. They work great, but I can't actually get far enough away from my amp to warrant buying one. But if I was to get given one, I'd be using that in the studio and everything. Would be great. You could go over there without having to worry about tripping over cables and stuff like that, just out of laziness. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think I will just give this to Jen to JPAX. I don't know what it's worth on its own. If anyone really wants it, give me a shout. I mean, it's got to be a couple £100 guitar now that it's fixed up and working. It's a wee bit surface scratched when you hold it up to the light, which would probably cut out, to be honest. But I just think as a blank canvas, apparently someone wants the bug, the Ibanez RG. So painted something like that, and if you paint this something like that, it's going to look something like that. Whoever it was looking at. So there's the bug there, I never called it the bug. Jen did. Yeah, so you're going to end up with something very similar looking to this. This is, if you're comparing the RG to the Viper, just as a straight up comparison, excluding the paint, the neck on this is getting towards that. It's a little bit wider than you would expect, a little bit flatter radius, but it's not a wizard neck. It's not too thin. It's kind of somewhere between. It's not really like a Charvel neck. It's a shredder, this guitar. But in the Swiss Army knife thing of guitars like this, Aria, well-respected company and stuff like that, it does do all the stratty things. I mean, you did used to see, I remember, you see if you look at any videos from that era, even like, someone like, I don't know, Cliff Richard, I was talking to him the other day, something like that, like a sort of, or a country band or something like that in 1990 or something, you'd expect them, it's a country band, they're obviously using a Telecaster. No, they're using things that look like this, because they're the modern guitars, so they're sitting there all with their, I don't even know what you call it, the shirts with the sort of cowboy patches on them and stuff like that, and then they're playing is it pointy? Anyhow, talked way enough. I'm about to take the Panda down to get sorted. And I shall see you tomorrow. Rock on. And cheers for... I didn't mention I did hit 4,000 subs. So thanks very much. Maybe that's why this company's interested in sending me shit. But it'll be good. Just send me something, and if I do a good review of it, then maybe I'll get more shit. Rocking.